Coming up on Network Africa, South African Minister Aaron Motsoaledi condemns African leaders seeking medical attention abroad. Kenya's opposition leader Raila Odinga and officials of the Electoral Commission scrutinize the 2017 general election result system. And Libyan Coast Guard rescues 300 migrants off the coast of Tripoli. Many thanks for joining us. Welcome to the program. I'm Millicent Unwoka. We begin in Kenya, where lawyers to opposition leader Raila Odinga, who is challenging the re-election of President Uhuru Kenyatta in the Supreme Court, are complaining their efforts at getting information from the Electoral Commission are being frustrated. On Monday, the Supreme Court granted Mr. Odinga's team access to the Electoral Commission server, which was used in managing the August 8th election. But there are allegations that the order had not been complied with. Well, one of the opposition lawyers tweeted that they had been stonewalled. The Electoral Commission has refuted the allegations. Well, we're now being joined by Teddy Otieno, a Kenyan journalist, for the latest. Teddy is joining us via telephone. Teddy, if you can hear me, the Commission tweeted earlier today that scrutiny of the system is ongoing. What does this mean?
Well, maybe if I got you right, the current state is President Uhuru Kenyatta's lawyers have closed their submissions and they asked the court not to invalidate the re-election of the incumbent. So the lawyers still insist that the election was free and fair, led by Senior Counsel Fred Gatia, who's exonerated the president from bribing, intimidating, and even threatening voters during the campaign.
Teddy, if I may cut in here, perhaps not the presidential election, which I know hearing started this morning, but more of the Commission tweeting, beg your pardon, that today scrutiny of the system is ongoing, talking about the IEBC, what they tweeted earlier today with regards to, NASA and Jubilee IT experts.
Oh, well, on matters, the debacle between NASA and Jubilee with regards to the access to IBC systems generated from the point of view that NASA was of opinion that IBC blocked them from accessing the forms 34A and 34B as directed by the court system. So the position was that it wanted that the court yesterday want adding today, and since they could not see rather access immediately for the forms, then they took that matter to the court, where they've been engaging with the six judges today, because one judge was taken ill. And then the deliberations were of opinion from the Supreme Court point of view that NASA be punished with the forms only copies of the form 34 and 34B.
Teddy,
over to you.
Yes. Teddy, remember, sometime last week we heard the Supreme Court in Kenya granted NASA read-only access to the select data and equipment that were used to conduct the August 8th poll. Now, when we say select data and equipment, how does this really help the opposition's case?
Well, you realize these are the forms that were used to collate the data on the presidential elections right from the constitution level, right before they got through at the presiding officers, and then later on the returning officers, and then now being sent off at the National Tallying Center. So the forms are indeed very, very important. For them to be able to compare, or rather collate the results between what was appearing on the IBC portal and what was written by the presiding officers right on the ground at the constituency level. Getting that tally is very important for the opposition to determine how important, or rather how are they matching, or are there any discrepancies of any sort with regard to the collated data. That is why these forms are very important.
Okay, a lot of Kenyans have been reacting to the latest developments, especially the immediate former member of parliament for Narok West constituency, Patrick Olentutu. He tweeted earlier that the evidence before the court against IEBC was quite huge, and unless the judges are compromised, he says Kenyans might see the end of electoral fraud in Kenya. What do you think? The process, does it point to any electoral fraud, not to mention the end?
Well, indeed, this is just speculations from quarters because they could come from their position. The government side could still give their own rebuttal. But then the issue remains and sticks to the court that the Supreme Court will have the final ruling come Friday. So all the bases of arguments that are fronted from the opposition and the government side alike are not really that substantial at this moment, because it is the Supreme Court and the 7-judge bench is going to give the final ruling. So all the allegations of threats, bribing, even intimidating voters or even lawyers that are defending either side are just baseless attacks at the moment.
All right. Thank you, Teddy Otieno. Always a pleasure talking to you on Network Africa.